Zentrix AI. Tired of switching between trading platforms? Zentrix AI brings it all together. Trade CFDs, get AI-powered insights, build automated strategies. Track crypto, design custom algos, trade perps. Stay ahead with live market outlooks. One platform, all your trading needs. No more switching between tools. Ready to simplify your trading? Start with Zentrix AI today. Zentrix AI, smarter trading. Zentrix AI. Tired of switching between trading platforms? Zentrix AI brings it all together. Trade CFDs, get AI-powered insights, build automated strategies. Track crypto, design custom algos, trade perps. Stay ahead with live market outlooks. One platform, all your trading needs. No more switching between tools. Ready to simplify your trading? Start with Zentrix AI today. Zentrix AI, smarter trading.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you do hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And of course, make sure you do check out Zentrix Telegram. Let me post that in the chat for you with the link. But yeah, if you haven't checked out the Telegram, make sure you head over and go and do so if you're interested to learn how you can utilize AI to improve your trading, make things a little bit easier, whether you're looking at automating systems, developing indicators, formulating your own strategies, using AI to potentially test those strategies as well, and a lot more. Make sure you head over and check it out. And if you are interested in looking into AI-powered signals, let me know, get into the Telegram and drop a message there and we'll help you out. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone's well. So as always, we'll go through the USD side of things first, talk about the dollar, talk about the DXY, USD majors, gold and silver, see what's happening on that end. Of course, any requests, any pairs you're analyzing or trading or want my opinion on, let me know, put it in the chat and we shall discuss. What's up, Tommy, though? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Ivan, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. What's up, Kizzy? My man, I hope you're doing good. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so let's get to it. So first thing up first, as always, we have the dollar. So with the DXY, of course, as a whole, market is pretty bearish, very, very consistent with the lower lows and lower highs. And as you can see, we are testing the upper end of this channel. So with the directional bias, it very much is make or break. If price does respect the high of this channel and breaks through this counter trend line, I'll be pretty bearish on the pair. And at that point, I won't be looking for any buying opportunities. On the flip, if price does break the channel to the upside, that for me is a very bullish signal, and I'll be very, very keen to be looking for opportunities to take dollar to the upside. So shorting euro, shorting pound, and I'm probably looking at something like this, maybe a nice inverse head and shoulder pattern. Have your left shoulder over here, your head, your right shoulder, and now with the opportunity to go long, something like that. We'll see how the breakout forms, but that's kind of what I'll be eyeing up. But so the make or break area, price is still correctively pushing along. Haven't really seen anything too different since yesterday. Momentum hasn't really entered the chat. We do have CPI later this afternoon, so maybe that will be the catalyst to get the dollar rolling. We'll have to wait and see, but it's still a little bit in limbo, so I'm not going to necessarily have too strong of a bias right now, because in actual fact, I'm waiting for a bit more information before I do cement that bias, whether I'm seeing signs of a breakout or seeing signs of price rejecting the up end of the trend line and breaking through the counter trend line. Then of course that will kind of point the direction for me. But the biggest takeaway is we're corrective, coming to an interesting area where a lower high could form. you're trading in this area of supply, let's see if we do push down or do push up. And I think maybe this afternoon we will find the answer to that question. As for Euro USD, pretty much the same situation, but flipped, of course. This has been correcting to the downside, so we've had a big bullish leg. Price has been pushing down. Again, overall the market is still bullish, don't get me wrong. We got this lovely ascending channel, which price is still trading in, the wrong way there. Still trading within and still just about respecting the limits of this channel here as well. So it's the same situation, same logic with Euro as with the DXY. Of course, most of the time they are the inverse of each other. If we do see a strong break of this counter trend line, perhaps that's the signal that, okay, Euro dollar is ready to push to the upside, especially if we see the DXY doing the same thing on the DXY chart. If we see the DXY breaking to the downside, then of course that will be a clear sign that Euro is ready to break high as well. And of course, the other side to that coin is if we do break to the downside aggressively, well, I'll be very keen to be looking for shorting opportunities. A push like this, breaking through the channel, tells me that, okay, that bullish trend is tired, it's running out of steam. Looking for a lower high, perhaps even on the retest of this area. Really nice textbook head and shoulder pattern. That would be very, very nice. Left head, right shoulder. And hopefully we can take some shorts there, back into the neckline, and we'll see how far we can go. So really, I quite like the shorts, to be honest. So I'm just waiting to see if that can happen. We'll, again, probably get the answer this afternoon. Hopefully we do anyway. If we continue to consolidate that for the week, it'll be a pretty boring week, to be honest. So hopefully we do get the breakout. Pound USD, again, kind of showing signs that we are likely to break lower, to be honest. This one, again, similar case to Euro, in terms of you had that channel, price was ascending to the upside, just rebounding highs, rebounding lows, nothing too spectacular. But recently we have broken to the downside out this trend line. Price is trading below. Now, the key thing I said yesterday is still I do want to see the break of this low here, because of course this is the low that gave us the high. The breakout of the channel isn't always the best method to measure if a trend is necessarily going to continue or not. It's a good method, but you want structure to follow that up as well. If we can break below here, that really puts that really shows to me that, okay, the buyers completely run out of steam here. Likely we are going to push lower, so we'll be looking for a pullback at that point and some shorting opportunities. And I really like the look of pound, especially if I take this to the daily chart. You can see we've just gone and taken out a major swing high there on the daily. So the market's quite stretched. Typically when we do take out major highs and lows, typically we do see pullbacks after. Maybe this is the pullback coming to play. You can see we've been very corrective on the daily chart as well. So I think a move to the downside is likely. So I do expect to see dollar strength come into the market. I do expect us to break higher for the DXY. I do expect Euro to break lower. I'm expecting pound USD to continue lower as well. So that's really what I'm waiting for. I'm not looking to jump the gun and get into any trades until I get the confirmations, but that's kind of where I'm expecting. I'll be more surprised if suddenly we were to be bullish and this trend does continue. I'll be quite surprised if that happens. Of course, as a trader, you always want to be adaptable. So if it does happen, is there an opportunity that follows? That's really the question you should be asking. But I would expect us to keep falling. And if we can break through the low, great. We'll talk about some shorts afterwards. Dollar CAD, not the biggest fan of this one, to be honest, just because it's very, very messy. And it's like prices consolidating in the middle of a potential range, really. So we've got the equal lows down here. Not necessarily equal highs, but we've got a solid level of resistance above us. The price right now is kind of in no man's land. So neither really testing major resistance, neither testing major support. I wouldn't really want to be doing my business in this area. I feel like it's almost 50-50 which way price wants to go. We had the lovely breakout of this descending channel last week. Really nice momentum last Monday. Didn't really provide much of a pullback to get into that, to be honest. It was just a straight breakout, and now we're just trapped in this consolidation. I spoke on the weekend about potentially some buys down at the lows or even some sells up at the highs here. The market, after all, is still pretty bearish. We are still falling, as we have done since the start of the year. a push back into the high, I think is a sensible place to short from. So really for dollar CAD, waiting for us to come back into areas of significance before getting involved. I feel like if you're getting involved here, you're asking for a little bit of trouble. Not that you won't find a successful trade, but I think conditions are very choppy. It's difficult to really reprice well in this area unless you're going for very small kind of scalps, off highs, off lows. I reckon you can get away with that. Any type of swing is difficult when prices is messy like that. But yeah, I would keep a close eye on 1.378, even 1.355. I think big levels can get some nice reactions off those areas, and we'll see where price goes from there. But dollar CAD, not a fan of this one at the moment. Aussie dollar, still looking for the same idea of the retest of the upper end of the channel to short this one. So something like this. There we go. So yeah, looking for a push back into roughly 0.62, 662 or 663. Anywhere up here would be nice. Maybe even 664, 665 maybe. But anywhere up at the up end of the channel, that's really the goal. It's not specifically the price, it's more so can we test the upper limits of this channel and potentially look to sell to the downside back into the low of the channel, or then maybe a breakout as well. Again, when price is very corrective like this, typically we normally break lower. So I'm naturally only looking to short the market. This is a very, very tight bullish market at this point in time. So I'm not really interested to try and keep buying it, look for higher lows. My best guess is that we're likely to sell off, and that's going to be the bigger, more impulsive move. So I'd rather position myself with that in mind. At the moment, kind of just dancing in the middle right now. I think we might see a rally. We're looking a little bit tight. So if we do, we'll keep an eye out for some shorts. And then, yeah, the plan is short it back to the low of the range. Maybe we're lucky for a breakout. Can always leave some positions to run. So I'm keeping an eye on Aussie dollar to see if we can get up there. In terms of New Zealand dollar, not a big fan of this one. Similar characteristics to Aussie in terms of we're moving in the channel. We've been respecting the highs and lows pretty well. Recently, we smacked into the high end of the channel. Respected it pretty well. Nice move down. Now price is kind of just dancing a little bit in the middle. So this is where the noise is. Where I said, again, I don't want to be getting involved at these areas. If I'm looking to buy or sell, I'm looking to get involved at the highs and lows. In the middle is where the most chaos is, the most indecision will be. That's just going to be a lot harder for me to get some consistent trades with a good stop loss as well. I'd rather get my stops above these highs or above these lows. So New Zealand dollar, unless we were to come back into any of these areas, then yes, there might be some opportunities for a long or for a short, or even for a breakout as well. So keep an eye on that. But since we've had the rejection of the high, the plan has been for a push into the low. So I still do expect a bit more downside for New Zealand dollar, but I'm not willing to jump into some shorts along the way because really I want to be up here, not down there. So unless we were to come back up again, then yeah, maybe there might be some shorts. But if that doesn't happen, then there's no real trade there for me. Couldn't get my words out there. Over to gold. Gold, yeah, annoying price action. And this is literally what I was saying yesterday. Because during yesterday, I think gold was rallying a little bit. It was showing some signs that it might break out. I said just be very, very careful with gold. It's a very, very choppy market. So if you're going to do your business, you're in there for a short time, not a long time, because the chances of price kind of suddenly turning around is pretty high in these conditions. When things are chopping around, the rate of reversal, the rate of just price fluctuating is quite high. So if you're looking for any sustained move, the chances are price is just going to go against you at some point. So you want to be taking your profits pretty quickly, respecting levels of support and resistance, because the chances are they're going to hold, of course, until they don't. But as I said yesterday, I like this level of support, and I also like this level of support as well. The way I see the market is we are long-term bullish, of course. We've got that higher time frame uptrend in place, so I'm generally looking to buy the market. But because we are so flat in the low time frames, the way I see it is I just want to find healthy levels where I can position long and put a healthy stop loss. And these two are areas that tick that box, or those boxes. Very strong support once, twice. If we get there again, I would expect at least another bounce. You can see on its own it's been holding very well as support. Likewise with this level, really big move to the upside away from all the noise. If I can get stops underneath that, I know I'm positioned well. Doesn't mean I'll be successful with the trade, but at least the market's going to have to work pretty hard to get my stop. And if I am right, I'm very well positioned to capitalize on a big swing. And even if the market does get noisy again, I'm away from all of that choppiness. So I like the idea of just buying low at these areas, 32.60 or 31.50. In and around here, I would be very, very careful. And if you are looking to get into trades, like I said, I'll keep it short and sweet. Look for a quick move here. If momentum starts to die out, start to probably look to take some positions off. If you see some big red flags, maybe just close the trade altogether, just because conditions are not great. As for silver though, very nice breakout. I'm really liking the look of silver. It's a pair on my watch list. I'm keeping a close eye on. Seeing some downsides, so I am getting interested now for silver. We were looking very, very bullish on the stream yesterday, I believe. We were kind of around here before we had the bit of a drop. So now we've had a bit of a drop. We're not too far away from the retest of this level. It is looking somewhat likely we could come back for a retest in the next coming days. So definitely going to keep a close eye at 37.3. Again, we are so close to that big psychological level of 40. That for me is like the next big target for silver. So close for that. So if we can pull back, retest this area, I think that looks like a really nice opportunity. The market that is extremely bullish, and I do think it's got a lot more upside for us. I think we've just been consolidating for quite a while, and now finally we've picked up the pace. Maybe we can start to see a similar trend to what we've had with gold recently. I know that's asking for a lot, but I do think silver's got that potential. So keeping a close eye on silver. Love the area for a retest here, not too far away. Let's see if we can get retest and some buys, and next targets, of course, wherever that swing high is, but I think 40 is a big target for silver in the next few days, few weeks. So very, very bullish as a whole. Okay, where was I? Yusuf, my man, what is up? Hope you're well. I am doing good. What's up, D-Mart? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Dan, what's up, my man? Hope you're doing good. Aussie yen, New Zealand yen, no problem. We'll take a look. Kizzy, do I have a strategy to know when a currency is about to fall? Not necessarily in terms of like, I know it's going to fall now, because no one knows that necessarily, unless if you do know that, you're going to be a multi-billionaire pretty quickly. So in terms of looking for signs if something's going to fall, there's plenty of signs you could keep an eye on. But of course, the caveat to that is not, okay, I'm seeing the signs, I'm expecting price to fall now. It's more like, okay, I'm seeing the signs, so in the next maybe few days, I'm expecting us to eventually reverse, or depends what time frame you're on. Might be a few hours if you're like on the 15 or a 5-minute chart. If you're on a 4-hour or daily, maybe a few days, few weeks, maybe even a bit longer than that. So it depends on the chart you're looking at, but you can look for signs in terms of how price is moving. One of the biggest signs is if the market is very corrective. So especially if you've gone from a very healthy trend to a corrective trend, that's a key sign. So if the market is seeing some really nice swings like this, very healthy trend, short pullbacks, long up moves, a lot of momentum, and then suddenly the market becomes like this, you're seeing deep pullbacks, frequent pullbacks. This is a clear sign to me that momentum that we once had, no longer there anymore. Market looks pretty tired, frequent pullbacks, deep pullbacks. Market overall is quite corrective. This is a clear sign that we're not healthy anymore, and that soon we probably are going to take a bit of a drop here. So based on how we're moving, that's a key sign. Of course, how long we're moving forward is another key sign as well. If this is just the start of a new trend, it might just be a fall for us to keep going higher. But if this is a trend that's lasted for quite some time or quite overextended, you can probably expect to see a bigger relief in the market there as well. And sometimes, if you're very on your game, sometimes the market will start to show signs that we are becoming corrective, and then it will give one last flush to the upside, as I like to call it. So let's say we're becoming quite corrective. Sometimes the market will give one more push before it does turn around. And sometimes you could view that as a head and shoulder pattern or a fake out, or kind of like a, like a fake out to a degree, and then potentially the market will reverse. Very common patterns, actually quite common to be honest, but you have to be on your game to spot it, because sometimes people look at this in terms of, okay, the trend is healthy again, let me keep looking to buy, when it's actually the complete opposite. A strong sign of that is actually what happened with dollar CAD not long ago. We saw with a lot of USD pairs, actually not just dollar CAD, but you can see we had a very nice uptrend. Price was looking very good. It became quite corrective, especially over here. Then we had one more big push to the upside, which formed that top, and then eventually the market did reverse. Same logic with like Aussie dollar as well. Had a very nice down move. It lasted for quite a while. One last big push to the downside. Eventually price reversed. Euro USD, it happened not long ago actually. Went over here. Nice uptrend there. Actually happened two separate occasions. It happened over here. So you can see kind of correctively moving up, very, very tired. So for a while, I was expecting price to drop. We had one more push to the upside, sucked in some buys there, and then of course had a push down. Of course, it wasn't a complete reversal. Price did push up, but it's the same pattern, just not for a bigger degree. And then we had the pattern over here in a slightly larger scale. You can see a big rush to the upside here. Then eventually the market does turn around. And again, the key characteristic of it is just a very aggressive move that looks kind of out of place. That's kind of what you're looking for. You have to be careful with that as well, because sometimes it is just generally the trend continuing. So the key aspect to look for is a strong push up. So the trend is moving up, a strong push up, and a very strong push down. If you see a strong push up and then a corrective move down, then yeah, it's probably actually the market continuing. So a key aspect is a strong push down after. But yeah, like I said, you're not going to know exactly when the market is going to fall or rise, because if you did, again, like I said, trading will be a doddle, but it's all about making educated guesses. That's really the art of trading, to be honest. You can look for key signs of us running out, and sometimes they don't always work as well. Sometimes you have a lot of signs that a trend is running out of steam, but it still continues sometimes. So yeah, that's where kind of confirmations come in, maybe a break of structure before we do take trades. Yeah, that's where that element comes in. But yeah, there's some things you can keep an eye on. In terms of Aussie yen though, looking pretty bullish, I must say. Yen looks still pretty weak. It looks like yen still falling, so yen pair is still rising. Aussie doing a pretty good job. Aussie somewhat strong as well, so that's kind of helping that out. But yeah, we're coming to an interesting area. Is this up move potentially a pullback for this bearish move? It could be. It could be. So as we do push higher, I'm going to pay close attention to see how price does start to behave in this area. If I'm seeing signs of, okay, we're running out of steam, potentially we do put a drop in. It might not necessarily mean we're coming all the way to these lows, but maybe we do see a meaningful push down before maybe we push up higher. So I'm going to keep a close eye in this area, because I think this is a prime place for some shorts. And on the flip side as well, if we do push down nice and correctively, I do think this could also be a nice place for a buy, and the higher low in this formation, and we push higher as well. So as we do push high, I'm keeping an eye for some selling opportunities to push it down. If it's a push down here, I'm keeping an eye for some buying opportunities to push it back up. So kind of depends what Aussie yen gives us. That depends on the location. At the moment, we're quite bullish. We're pushing to these highs here. There's a lot of resistance. We've got the 0.786 just above us. Potentially start to find some resistance around those areas, and there might be some nice selling opportunities to take it lower. Again, in terms of is price making a big swing to that or a big swing there, I'm not too sure yet. So I'm just looking to play it kind of day by day, to be honest. But at the moment, Aussie yen's pretty bullish. I would say if we can have a decent pullback, I quite like the consolidation over here. If price can come back into kind of this territory, I think that'll be a smart place for a buy to take it back up again. And likewise, like I said, if you keep pushing to the upside, become corrective, maybe see some signs of reversal, might be some nice shorts on the way down as well, maybe around the 98 mark. But we'll have to wait and see. At the moment, too early to say which setup we'll get, the buys or the longs. Not really trading at any area of significance where I'd say get into some trades. At the moment, it's kind of just, okay, let price do its thing. We'll see where we get to, see how we develop. And then there could be some buys for us or maybe some shorts from a swing perspective. But at the moment, very bullish. If you're looking from an intraday perspective, then maybe a retest of that prior high might be a nice opportunity there. Just a nice intraday move. Retest the structure, trade it back to wherever the recent high is, call it a day. So that might be a nice kind of a lower time frame trade to look at. But if you're looking for more of a swing idea, then you got those areas above us and below us. But intraday trend is still up, so I'll just be looking for pullbacks and some longs. New Zealand yen, I would imagine pretty much the same situation as well. So again, big drop to the downside. Is this impulsive move here, the bearish leg? Is this a pullback for us to continue lower? Maybe. Again, looking for signs for shorting opportunities as we approach the highs here around the 0.786 mark. I think this is an area where we could potentially sell off. We might buy back up again later on. Again, that's a discussion for a later date. But as we do approach these areas, I think some shorts could look good. At the moment, the market is extremely corrective, I must say. So I'm not really eyeing up this in terms of buys because it's not really giving me much confidence to keep buying it. Look how corrective we are. Yes, the market's still bullish. Yes, we're still consistent with higher lows. But when we're this corrective, I'm expecting eventually us to push down. So, I mean, this goes back to the question asked earlier. How do you know if a market's about to fall? I would say New Zealand yen is a market that is about to fall soon. Again, the caveat to that is I don't know when. It could be today. It could be this time next week. Potentially, it could be this time in a couple of weeks. Price might still want to continue to chug to the upside for a while before we do drop. So, in terms of when it does drop, that's the real kind of, no one knows necessarily when that's going to happen. You can kind of guess when you can guess that it's coming, but not necessarily when it does come. So, New Zealand yen to me is still bullish, but showing a lot of signs of fatigue. Very, very corrective move. No momentum really. So I do think this will fall. Like I said, I marked out that area on the daily chart in terms of maybe it happens there. We'll have to see what happens in terms of the behavior. But if I'm going to get short, I need to see some signs of some lower lows and lower highs I can trade to get involved. And that might take a while as well. But New Zealand yen, I would say keep an eye on 89, 89.5. For some shorts, there might be some nice counter trend opportunities over there. Excuse me. Where was I? Henry, what's up? Dollar CHF. Yep, we'll take a look as well. Hope that made sense in Aussie and New Zealand as well. Kizzy. No, trading is my main. Is my main profession. This is what I do. If I retired, I wouldn't be trading anymore. Veli, BTC. Okay, we'll take a look as well. What's up, Julius? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Ferrogams, good morning, my man. Hope you're doing good. Welcome. CHF pairs. Okay, we'll go through some CHF pairs. No problem. We're going to probably start off dollar CHF, then we'll go through a bunch of them. We'll take a look at BTC as well. Lesogo, CAD, Yen. Okay, we'll take a look. New Zealand CAD as well. We'll take a look. Bunch of pairs to go through. Okay, so I'll go through dollar CHF, BTC. We'll go through a bunch of CHF pairs next. Okay, so dollar CHF, we are pretty bearish as a whole, but again, it's another USD pair. And like I said earlier, I'm expecting to see some strength for the dollar soon. Again, I don't know when, but I'm expecting to see some strength because dollar looks like it's running out of steam. So I'm going to keep looking to short that, especially as a swing trader. Day trading, I fully get it. You're only trading necessarily for the day, to be honest. So if the market's going to be bearish for today, you can still very much profit from that. But someone who's looking to hold trades for multiple days, maybe even multiple weeks if it goes well, shorting now is not the best time after the market has already plummeted. The opportunity has gone for the swing trader. Not that we can't keep falling, but I'd rather wait for a healthy trend to the upside first, a healthy pullback, then decide to short. There's opportunity there. Here, there's not much really in my book for a swing opportunity. Day trading, like I said, scalping, much different. In terms of the dollar CHF right now, we are close or more or less testing some big monthly levels of support. So as you can see here, very, very big monthly level of support, big push to the upside. Again here, might see another push to the upside potentially. So we're coming to some big areas. We've fallen quite a while. I do think some upside could be on the cards for dollar CHF. We also mentioned a pretty big level of support resistance. If you look to our left here, a really big level there, support once, twice, and yeah, could very well be resistance again. We've got a lovely trendline confluence going through the market, similar to Euro USD, similar to the other USD pairs as well. I said a couple of weeks ago, this is kind of the area of interest for dollar CHF. What do we do up here? Do we smash into it? Do we break through? Do we respect and come back down? That's kind of really where I'm looking at. I believe if we do see a nice break of that, I think the buys could be looking good shortly afterwards. That will show me signs of, okay, potentially a reversal or some type of bullish counter trend could come to play. And on the flip side, if we do see price respect it well, then yeah, I think we could very much see another swing to the downside. So 0.805 is really where my interest is. Dollar CHF right now, not really trading at any area of significance that will get me excited about looking for opportunities. I'd say the market's quite flat. So pretty much I'm staying away from the current price action. But if we can push back to 0.805, things could get interesting in terms of opportunities, and whether we're looking at buys on a breakout or sells on a retest, I think there could be some really nice opportunities with some decent risk to reward coming soon. So dollar CHF, don't really have a bias just yet, kind of waiting for a bit more information, trading at some significant areas, and then I can probably put forward more of a bias, just waiting to see if we can get there really. BTC is interesting, of course, being absolutely bullish, flying to the upside, smashing into 120k yesterday, or was that Monday? Yesterday was Monday, so yeah, yesterday. So we smashed into 120k. I put 125k there as the next level. Just came shy of that, got to about 123, I think. Yeah, 123 before I pushed down. So BTC, yeah, still extremely bullish. This, of course, will be an area that I would imagine buyers could be looking to enter the market back in again. Lovely consolidation, very sharp break to the upside. This would be a smart place for a buy, in my opinion. I like this for a buy. Market's still very bullish. No signs of reversal. I know, of course, we're looking bearish at the moment with that wick, and the current day is bearish. But again, we need more than that to signify a complete reversal of the trend. Bearish candles are going to exist. As you can see in the last up move here, there are bearish candles there along the way. So a bearish candle doesn't really change much. It's more so the market structure, which I'm paying attention to. So I like this area here. Nice kind of consolidation, healthy breakout, no prior retest. I think that could be a very smart place to buy from. Let's see how price gets there, though. I don't want to see price completely collapse like a very impulsive move. We have started off pretty impulsive, so I want us to kind of slow down a little bit, start to descend a little bit, and then continue. I don't want to see us keep plummeting, because that could be a red flag, to be honest, if that does happen. But if it's nice and slow, corrective, maybe see a nice double bottom here, I think it's a smart place for a buy. And then yeah, targets back to wherever the high is, 122k, 123, and maybe some new highs at 125. So Bitcoin's still very bullish. Yes, we're looking a little bit bearish now, but to me that's not a huge red flag. It just means that we might be putting a temporary top in until I see more red flags come into play, particularly in terms of market structure. Then of course I'll let you know. But for now, still very bullish on BTC. As for other CHF pairs as a collective, it's interesting because some CHF pairs I'm pretty bearish on, some are a bit more neutral on, like dollar CHF, for example. That's definitely a market which is bearish, but I think we are running out of steam. We might see some upside. Pound CHF, I'm pretty bearish on. I think price has still got some distance to the downside. I'm looking at coming back into this support level here, around 1.06. Dropping to the 4-hour chart, looking exceptionally bearish. I would suggest just keep an eye on some pullbacks really for pound CHF if you're interested. There's also this range above us over here. I think it would be brilliant if you can get a retest of that, but I just think the market's probably not going to have as a bigger pullback to get there. So this is probably something a bit more reasonable. But pound CHF, we've got very strong support below us. Market's been bearish for quite a while. I see this one still falling. Of course, CHF, JPY has been absolutely flying, so we can kind of see a theme with CHF being quite strong at the moment, dollar CHF being down. Of course, the DXY USD's played a part with that as well, but CHF has been strong. Excuse me. Pound CHF is down. Pound has been weak in fairness, but again, CHF has been strong. CHF JPY, CHF has been strong there as well. This was just creating new all-time highs by the day, to be honest. So this is extremely bullish. I would suggest, again, if you're intraday, just keep an eye on the pullbacks, buying the lows. Keep buying the lows until proven otherwise. I think that's the condition here. This is similar to what we had with gold early in the year and through most of 2024. These are very aggressive bullish conditions. Yes, I know at all-time highs, so I wouldn't be looking for a big swing, but what I would suggest is lower time frame pullbacks is your best bet until you start to see some signs that structure shifting or some big red flags. Then of course you can back away, but at the moment momentum still looks pretty happy and likely to continue. So CHF very strong in that regard. Some other pairs, Aussie CHF, I'm still looking for a big recovery for this pair, push to the upside, but lacking momentum. I was hoping we could respect this area here yesterday. We had a slight bounce, but nothing more than that. We're still just above the channel, so I don't think I wouldn't say all hope is lost. We could still see it potentially continuation. We are forming some type of counter trend line here as well. Perhaps a strong break of that trend line will insinuate a nice buy. But for the most part, as I said yesterday, the market is still bearish. We are still seeing lower lows and lower highs. We are very consistent with that as well. So even if we do see a rally here with Aussie Swiss, there's probably a strong chance we still put a lower high in and continue lower. So if you're looking for buys here, it's against the grain a little bit. It makes sense because of where we're coming from and how correctively we're moving, but I wouldn't be too greedy with the buys here. 0.528 I think is a logical area. 0.53 is a logical area where sellers could look to enter the market again and maybe catch a lower high. So being careful with that idea. New Zealand CHF hasn't really given us much hope, to be honest. That is still kind of generally falling. Slight push to the upside recently. We are starting to respect support a little bit, but nothing significant really. As a whole, very bearish market. We did break out this consolidation and we have been falling since. I do think an up move is on the cards though, because this is a very sluggish move to the downside. It could continue, but I think now that we've pulled away from the consolidation, we've got a possibility of a retest before we do continue, and that could be a nice trade outright as well. So again, it looks like CHF is still being quite strong there, and then CAD CHF as well. For the most part, we've had a bit of strength coming in, but for the most part, CAD CHF is still extremely bearish. Not really seeing much bullish momentum at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see another drop. So biggest takeaway, CHF is still very strong. Maybe it is coming to an end soon. CHF JPY is not going to continue to make all-time highs every day. It's eventually going to put a top in and pull back. So I do think CHF strength eventually will probably die out maybe the next week or two. But in terms of right now, in terms of the next day or next couple of days, probably till the end of the week, I think CHF will probably remain strong. So yeah, be careful with that. Okay, so next up, we'll take a look at CAD Yen and New Zealand CAD as well. Yusuf, no problem, my man. Happy to help. A price action pattern you shouldn't be giving. Nice, cool. Yeah, I mean, those kind of type of things you kind of pick up along the way. They're not necessarily as obvious or as textbook, but the reason behind them is actually relatively textbook as well. I mean, you're not going to look at the markets and invent new things necessarily. You just might look at things in a new light, like you said, a new perspective. The move of price pushing up and coming down aggressively, is a move that you kind of see throughout many patterns. For example, resistance. If price is going to smash into resistance and break through it and then break underneath it, well, that's just a simple fake out to you. But it might happen at the end of a trend and might give you that same up move and that same move down. That gives you the short head and shoulder patterns. Same situation there as well. You've got a nice trend, maybe becomes a bit more corrective. Big push up, big push down, retest. You get the right shoulder, sell off. It's the same pattern, but in this case, you're kind of viewing in terms of a head and shoulder. and of course, as I described earlier as well. So you're not going to invent something new in the market. There's nothing new you're going to discover, most likely. The markets have been around for a while. You might just look at things in a new light, in a new way. There'll be small kind of patterns you pick up which are not as obvious as well. But it's kind of just your ability to interpret what the market's giving you, really. But yeah, typically, sometimes at the end of the trends, when you get really aggressive up moves or really aggressive down moves, keep an eye on them. If they do reverse very quickly, it's normally a strong sign that that's probably going to be a bottom, and you could be looking at some reversals from then onwards. MJ, what's up? Euro Aussie, yes, we'll take a look. No problem. Looking for shorts. Okay, cool. I'm still interested in Euro Aussie shorts, but I'll see if I can get an entry for it. Same with UNZE. Ferrogams, no problem. Happy to help. Excuse me. Matta, what is up? Good morning. Dollar yen, okay, we'll have a look. You get the breakthrough moment, and how long did it take? What did you do that stands out? And what you're not doing before? Good question. I would say in terms of, there's not necessarily a breakthrough moment. There's no like a magical moment. I was like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. It was more so kind of just looking back and seeing progress, really. And a key thing was kind of tracking my metrics and also stopping previous mistakes. That I would say that's the biggest thing, because especially when you've been trading for a while and you've got a bit of experience in the market, maybe you've got a strategy you're working on. The difference between profitability and not profitability is actually quite slim. You might be doing 5 things right, but you're doing 6 things wrong, and as a result, your equity curve is pushing down. So instead of doing 6 things wrong, maybe do 3 things wrong now, and potentially equity curve is actually pointing up, and that's profitability. So in terms of breakthrough moment, there wasn't really one. It was more so looking back and just seeing the progress, really, and seeing how far you've come. In terms of things that I was doing before that was holding me back in terms of preventing me to find profitability, and afterwards was 100% journaling, looking back at my previous results, looking back at my previous trades, really going through in terms of plotting entries, stop losses, targets, seeing what the market did, what did I do. So reviewing 100% a huge kind of way to progress, because each person is going to have their own individual mistakes of what's holding them back. Some people might be being a bit too fearful, being a bit too greedy, this, that. So there's no one thing that I could say that will help you, but looking back, you will see the mistakes. Sometimes it's pretty obvious, especially, again, if you've got experience in the market, 1 to 2 years, you can identify those mistakes pretty easily once you look back in detail of your trades. And I'll say the second thing as well is probably just having consistency with your approach and not deviating from it, because early in my trading career, I was probably not spending more than 2 or 3 months on a strategy or on a methodology. Spending like a solid year on the same thing would just put you light years ahead of where you were previously, especially if you are jumping from idea to idea, strategy to strategy, having the consistency with the same thing, because you'll get better at it. Again, profitability is not a million miles away. It's just the balance between your profits and loss. If you can reduce the loss a little bit, increase the profits a bit more, you'll be surprised how fast things can turn around. And just focus on those aspects. Anyway, let's go through CAD Yen, and we'll go through New Zealand CAD, Euro Aussie as well. I think Euro Aussie. MJ will take a look as well. We will go through. So in terms of CAD Yen, this one's been interesting. It's been very, very interesting. Bullish at the moment. Looks like Yen's weakness is really coming into play for the Yen pairs. CAD Yen still pushing up quite a lot. I was looking at shorts last week. I did manage to get in for roughly get out for roughly a break even on that position. Momentum never really got going, and then I got some red flags early in the position, so I was short here. Nice push down. Then we started to find support, ugly wick to the downside, strong close there. Managed to get out on this bearish candle there. So, momentum never really continued my direction. Now I'm looking at the market Still, potentially could be a pullback for more downside, but as things go on with the consistency of the higher highs and the higher lows, it's less and less likely I do expect us to push down now for a bigger swing. So I quite like the buys for CAD Yen, but only if we have a deep pullback, because we are still very, very corrective. I'm not looking at this uptrend for CAD Yen and being amazed at how great it looks and how healthy it looks. This is a very, very corrective uptrend. So if I'm going to look to do any business with this one, I want to see if I can wait for a deep pullback, get into the market a little bit later. That will allow me to kind of miss out on all the noise and all the chaos and potentially capitalize on that higher low. It's not a very straightforward uptrend. There's not a lot of momentum in it, so I want to be the last one into the trade. Where people are getting out, that's what I'm getting in sort of situation. And if I can get pullback into this area, depending on the pullback, that could be it. So CAD Yen, I like the buys for this one, but it must be a deep pullback. We've only just about taken out these highs. We're looking very corrective as we speak. So I do think a pullback is probably on the cards shortly. Unless some newfound momentum comes into the market and we see a corrective pullback after, then yeah, maybe there's some buys in the break and retest. But we'll speak on that when it does happen, if we do see that momentum. At the moment, just about cleared highs, looking extremely corrective right now. This for me is an interesting place to go long. You can see the consistency with the higher lows with the trend line. Nice area of demand there, which kick-started that last bullish move. That looks like a smart place to go long. And then, yeah, we'll see how far we can take it. But it's a very corrective uptrend, so it's not a market which I'm getting too overly excited about. I prefer Euro Yen a lot more. I'll go into a lot more detail of this pair later on, but you can just see the characteristic of Euro Yen so aggressive. So if this was the pullback, I think there's a very high chance it does continue back to highs and see some new highs. It would be very kind of it would be quite amazing to see us completely drop and reverse if that is the move for Euro Yen. It's going to take a hell of a move for us to reverse all of this and to have me thinking that the market is going to continue lower. So the odds of us continue higher are pretty high. Therefore, if I do catch a pullback with Euro Yen, I'll be more than happy to trade it and sit in it as well because of the likeliness for us to continue. So Euro Yen looks a lot better. Of course, they are both yen pairs, so CAD Yen probably does end up doing the same thing, but just in terms of the quality of the market structure, Euro Yen is ticking my boxes twice over, really. Okay, so we'll go take a look at Euro Aussie, New Zealand CAD, sorry, and then we'll take a look at Euro Aussie afterwards. So with New Zealand CAD, a lovely consolidation we've got our hands on here. You got the equal highs roughly, you got the equal lows down here, and the market's been extremely flat for about a couple of months now, I think, since 22nd of April. So yeah, it's been consolidating for quite a while now. So very, very flat. I did say on my weekly analysis last weekend that if you are looking for opportunities for New Zealand CAD, the best thing to do is just buy a low, sell high. I had a lovely fake out a couple of weeks back now. Prices come back into support, respected it pretty well. I think that's a nice place for a buy. The 50% is always a nice place for a take profit. You can see if you bought here previously, if you kind of got into the 50% area, we can always use the fib to get it a bit more accurate. I'm always a big fan of using the 50% of a range in terms of finding targets, because not always you do see the completion of the range. You know, let's say if you bought here and you're targeting the high of the range, which makes perfect sense. You can see we got about 3/4 of the way before price did push back down against you. And then eventually it did happen, but on that move it didn't necessarily happen. You can see here as well, nice short from the high. Did come back down quite a lot against you. Maybe you did sit through the trade. Here as well, nice buy, didn't push all the way to the high before coming back down again. So locking in some gains at the 50% is like quite a high probability area where you can bet the market will get to, as long as we're respecting the low or the high very well. There's a pretty high chance we do get to the 50% of the range, and then we'll see if price does continue further. But 50% is always a nice place to lock in some gains or just remove risk, really. You can always enter the trade again if it does return to support. You can always just buy back in again if it does get there. But yeah, with New Zealand CAD, just A pair that is still consolidating. I think this is still a smart place for a buy. And I do still have a bullish bias for New Zealand CAD. Believe it or not, I still think price can break to the upside and see something like this. I do think that's the bigger move. I'm kind of looking at us finding a bit of a bottom here, potentially, and breaking higher. So I do still see New Zealand CAD pushing to the upside, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily bank on that happening. A lot needs to go right for that to happen. But again, if you're looking for some clean opportunities, buying off the low makes a lot of sense. Maybe ideally not entering the trade now because you've already had a bit of a push. So ideally you want price to push back into support, find entries a bit closer to the source there, so you can minimize that risk reward. Not minimize the risk reward, minimize the stop loss, but maximize the risk reward. So even a push to 50% could be like a 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. And then, yeah, maybe a push back to highs and maybe a breakout as well. But in terms of the big breakout, I think I'd wait for that to happen. And then we can talk about some buys afterwards. You can always enter here early, anticipating the breakout. But we'll see if we do get that. But yeah, that's the plan for New Zealand CAD. In terms of Euro Aussie, I still do have a short bias for this one as well. Just being a bit difficult in terms of finding entries to actually get into a trade for this one. I do think price is just having a big pullback here. We're having a nice corrective move here. I do feel like this is just a pullback for us to eventually continue lower. I'm zooming out, looking at the bigger picture. In fact, if I go to the weekly chart, I do think we're quite stretched here in a similar fashion to what we had in COVID. Very stretched move, push down, big reversal. Might not necessarily see a reversal from this, but I do think we're in a similar case in terms of the market's quite stretched. Of course, a lot of fundamentals had a big part to play there. Here, not as much, but I do expect to see similar reaction and a similar push down. So I'm pretty bearish on Euro Aussie. We did have a nice push down, necessarily broken clear structure here. Yes, we've taken out these lows, but I would probably argue that this is the main low to take out. So I like the shorts, a bit more aggressive because, like I said, we haven't taken out a major low yet, but I do expect to see more downside, and I like the opportunity of a retest of this range. Nice consolidation, big push down, a lot of momentum. If price was to return into that area, I think that'd be a smart place to short and capitalize on a lower high. And if things go very well, you never know, you might be sitting in a trade all the way back to the lows there. And I bet the risk reward is looking pretty good if that was to happen. So Euro Aussie, I wouldn't be necessarily looking to buy the market anyway. I think the trend to the upside is very fatigued, looks very tired to me. We're seeing very meaningful, impulsive bearish swings. Not really seeing that much momentum anymore to the upside. So I do think we're likely to push down. So I do agree with that short bias. In terms of an opportunity, we've got a nice little range there for a retest. So let's see if we can get back there, respect it well. And targets, you got numerous lows to look at, but I do think eventually we could be speaking about push to 1.72663. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. DMAR, yeah, we got CPI this afternoon, strong dollar, or I'm looking for a strong dollar. Again, my take with news is always I'm just waiting for the news to happen before I do anything because, you know, I'm a very technical trader. My technicals kind of make up my decision in terms of buying and selling. So in terms of fundamentals, the way I do see them, especially news events, as just catalysts to get the market moving. Of course, whether they're going to be bullish or bearish, not necessarily important to me because let's say if I'm bullish for something, and the news is bullish too, okay, great. Is there an opportunity for me to keep buying this? Is it a yes or no? Yeah, that's the important question. And let's say if I'm bullish, but the news was bearish, okay, has it done something now which makes me think the market's not going to go up anymore? Has it broken through a key level? Has it broken some structure? That's now made me bearish too. If that's yes, then okay, I'm looking to sell now. Or if it's no, I'm still looking to buy, just waiting for an entry. So that's really my take on news announcements. Of course, CPI as a whole, interest rates as a whole will, of course, dictate pricing of currency markets. But in terms of the event itself, whether it be bullish or bearish, because again, it's not always straightforward as that as well. Sometimes there are underlying situations that you might think, okay, rates have gone up, we're bullish, but actually no, that's not the case. So things can change like that as well. But yeah, I do expect to see some strength for the dollar. That's kind of what I'm waiting for. And yeah, I'm just going to see what CPI has in store for that. If it does make me continue to be bullish or potentially makes me rethink my analysis. Good morning, Alex. What's up, my man? Welcome to the stream. US 13 oil short, we'll definitely take a look. Yusuf, UJ, and GJ thoughts. Okay, we'll have a look as well. Julius, gold and oil. Yep, we'll take a look at gold and oil as well. 4 hour time frame, no problem. No problem matter. Happy to help. Nasdaq. Do I trade indices? At the moment I do trade US 30. Haven't taken a position for a while though, but I do trade US 30. I'm going to be looking to add S&P and NAS to my watch list as well. Haven't done them yet, but there are pairs I'm looking to add. I mean, I do analyze them pretty much every week, so I'm pretty comfortable in terms of analyzing them. In terms of actually placing trades, I've never really traded S&P or NAS before, so it'll be new to me in that regard. I've always been focused on FX, but recently US 30, I'll look to add NAS and S&P. I'll look to add oil as well. I might even look to add copper potentially and platinum. Again, not necessarily just so I can trade everything and anything. It's just I'm always looking for the best opportunity. Sometimes it's going to be on dollar CAD, sometimes it's going to be Aussie Swiss, sometimes it's going to be on oil, sometimes it's going to be the S&P. I'm not to necessarily know which market's going to find me the best opportunity. So the more the better, to be honest, because it gives me more selection and don't always, sometimes the selection is not great, but if you have more pairs to choose from, you might find a much better opportunity somewhere else. So not at the moment, but I'll look to add them. Soon. Yeah, I agree. Euro 18 looking very, very bullish, above 2018 high as well. So yeah, we are looking very, very bullish at the moment. And yeah, I would be looking to buy some pullbacks in Euro EM. Okay, so let me go take a look at oil in US 30. So oil's an interesting one. I've been pretty bullish on oil. Bless me. Just about muted the mic in time. But yeah, I've been pretty bullish on oil, mainly because we've got this massive level of support, which for the most part price is trading above pretty well. And as I've been saying, as long as price stays above this level, excuse me, I think my hay fever is trying to attack me. As long as price stays above this level, I'm pretty bullish with the market. I'm expecting a push back to 80 and probably a lot further as well. We did see a nice bounce to that level, but we are quite corrective. So that's my issue, because I was expecting price to test this level and be done with it and see some really nice momentum. Initially, we saw that. We saw a nice breakout. If I just move this out of the way, saw a nice breakout of this range, a lovely retest. Momentum picked up a little bit, but it just became very, very corrective. So I do think that oil is set to push back down again into support. And then we'll go from there. Is price going to respect the level again, potentially form a big double bottom and see some upside? Maybe. Or is price going to break to the downside here and continue this momentum from a few weeks back? Well, in that case, I'll be pretty bearish because we're breaking through that big daily/weekly level. And the plan will be looking for pullbacks, a lower high, and then a short. So, and you've got some lows there to potentially target as well. So this area, 65, is a really make or break area for me. I can see a world where we do bounce and do turn around. I can see the area where we smash straight through, and we look for a retest to continue shorting. Let's see what oil has in store for us. But at the moment I'll be bullish because we're still trading above it, and we had a decent a decent rejection last time we were here. So I think buys still look good, but let's see how we get there. Let's see how we react. That will paint the picture for us. And then whether we're going to respect the level or not, I think there's opportunities in both directions. So yeah, keep a close eye on oil. Interesting area, very corrective on the way up. So the big push to the upside is not looking likely at the moment. Probably push down first before we do push up, if that's going to be the case, and then we'll go from there. In terms of US 30, so US 30 I quite like it because we haven't yet made all-time highs. And if you look at all the other major indices we have, I don't think the Russell has done that yet, but we're so close. S&P's done that. The Nas has done that as well. So I do think US 30 just kind of lagging behind a little bit and is set to go and create new all-time highs pretty soon. So there's opportunity there because we're expecting the market to do something, but it hasn't done it yet. So there's an opportunity there. We spoke about some buys yesterday. We came back into this range here. In fact, we spoke about some buys on this range, I think, last week when price was almost there. We kind of just missed it by the smallest margin, pushed up, and then kind enough the market did test it as the week opened. We were talking about some buys here yesterday because essentially, the way I see it, the market is kind of ranging here. So essentially buying low is the way, especially off a nice area of demand like this one. I do expect us to break to the upside here for US 30. So if you're looking for entries, again, ideally want price to push back into support again, back into this area of demand, and look for some entries off the back of that. Right now, kind of in the middle of nowhere, maybe respecting some areas of resistance and supply in the lower time frames, but that's not really doing much for me. So still pretty bullish. Look at this leg to the upside, very bullish, aggressive momentum. Haven't necessarily reversed that momentum yet. We saw a little bit of momentum with that bearish candle, but it didn't really lead into anything as well. No sustained momentum. So for the most part, this move looked just corrective to me. So the way I see it, impulse, correction, and I'm expecting another impulse to the upside. So very bullish on US 30. Just in terms of entries, if you're not in the trade already, you kind of want price to push down first again before finding entries, because this is ideally where you want to position yourself before getting long. So yeah, expecting a big breakout. No problem, MJ, happy to help. Do I trade in balances? No. No. Annie, what is up? Hope you're well. Entered oil at 67. Nice for the target, 65.5. Stop loss 68. Okay, we'll go through. Simbonello, what is up? CPI today will clear everything up, hopefully. Today reversal continuation decision for USD. I'm hoping so, Simbonello. It's been a very kind of slow grind for the DXY for a while now. And you would expect a news event like CPI to be the decision maker, and hopefully so. If not, we might see. Yeah, let's just hope it is, because USD has been flat. I haven't actually traded USD pairs for a while actually as well. I've been trading a lot of the minor pairs, so and some yen pairs too. So I'm missing some USD action. Hopefully CPI can provide that. Where was I? Okay, UJ and GJ for Yusuf, and then I'll go through that oil trade for Annie. So dollar yen. I think someone requested dollar yen ages ago. I completely forgot to go through it. If I do miss out a pair, by the way, just let me know in the chat. Sometimes I will forget. But yeah, in terms of dollar yen, it's a market that is relatively flat. I'll take a look in the lower time frames in a moment. Just want to look at the bigger picture. But dollar yen pair relatively flat, just moving sideways for quite a while. There is a very significant level of support below us, which I do think eventually will break, but we're a long way from that. We can speak more about that when the time is right. At the moment, it does look like we respect the support pretty well and might see some momentum to the upside. It was a pretty strong close last week there, to be honest. But well and truly, I'm very excited about this level here. Really big level on the weekly chart. I feel like this could be an area where price does push into, puts potentially another lower high in, just like we did over here, over there, maybe a third one, and that could give us a really big drop to the downside, and maybe that's the drop to go and break through support. So I'm quite liking the look of this area. If price can push into 152, I think that could be a very nice place for a swing trade. But again, we'll probably speak on that later on. In terms of what we're doing now, it's just really flat. We've got resistance above us here. If I can include the other points as well, so you can see tests over there, another one, and now I'm about to make a fourth. So the way I see it, back at resistance, it's 50-50. Will price respect this and come down or break through? I'll wait to see how we operate those areas, but my first impression is that the market looks extremely tired right now, very corrective, so I do think there's a good chance we do find resistance if we do push down. Again, would I look to target all the way to the low of the range? Probably not in this instance. I think this is a great way to use the 50% kind of idea, draw up the 50%, use the Fibonacci, and kind of have targets. Oh, delete the wrong thing. And have targets around the 50% mark. I think that could be a sensible place to look to start to lock in gains, or even just remove risks, depending how you want to manage it. But yeah, I think a push to that 50% mark looks like a good idea. Of course, let's just wait to see how we get there first, but we are looking pretty fatigued, so I think there's a good chance we do respect it. And on the occasion we do break out, then there might be some nice opportunities on a retest to take it to the upside. The next significant high I'll be looking at is 151. Of course, we do got that 152 area, which we just spoke about, so I'll keep a close eye on that. I think we can probably target that high there should we break to the upside. So yeah, dollar yen, the way I see it, just coming to the top end of a range. Price may break out, it may not. Let's wait for more evidence before fully putting a bias out there for dollar yen. But either which way, there's opportunities, whether we're going to push up to 151 or 145. I can see price doing both things really. So let's wait for a bit more information at that resistance before jumping into anything. In terms of the 15-minute chart though, I mean, I did speak about some buys yesterday. Looks like we didn't get the setup for that. I said it would be nice if price can run back into the lows here. I think at the time we were trading around here, things were looking very corrective. So I said, okay, generally speaking, 50-minute is still very bullish. Still seeing a pretty decent trend, higher highs and higher lows. But we were very corrective at the time, no kind of clear-cut entry. So I said, let's push back into support, find some buys in this area, and then maybe hopefully take it to the upside and continue all these higher lows. Didn't quite see that. Market was far too bullish for a pullback of that big, of that size. And yeah, we're still looking pretty bullish at the moment. I like the range here though, because we did provide a nice consolidation before price did break to the upside with somewhat decent momentum. So this has created an area of interest, especially you can see how price is just trading with support there, building up orders either side. It would be nice if you can run through the lows, test the consolidation, perhaps see the next one form and then run to highs. I still do think on the 50-minute chart there's a bit more upside to be had. So I still think there's another buy opportunity there for dollar yen and the 15, but I would like to see a retest of this range here. That's where the momentum came from, and you've got some early buys here, potentially providing liquidity to fund that move higher. So I like what I'm seeing on the 15 minutes, still an uptrend, still some bullish opportunities. There is a world where you just shoot to the upside from here, but I wouldn't be interested with that. Again, it's always quality over quantity. This could provide a nice quality setup, so I'll keep a close eye on that. And in terms of GJ, this one on the 4-hour chart, just kind of correctively moving down. We smash into some resistance, which price is really struggling to break through. For the most part, we've been pretty corrective on the way up. So again, not really showing much confidence on a breakout. I still think that's the likely move though. I'm looking at the yen. It looks pretty weak right now. If you look at other yen currency pairs as well, they all are stronger than yen at the moment. So I think pound yen probably will follow suit, but we'll see. We'll see. We need the breakout to really establish that. At the moment, we're just moving within this channel. We smacked into resistance, smacked into the up end of the channel. I said there might be some nice buys if we continue that corrective behavior back into the low end of the channel, just to see another push back into resistance. So that for it's just basically continuing what we've been doing throughout in the past few months, really. So nothing new. That could be a smart place for a buy. Keep an eye on a pullback to there. If we're looking for the breakout and the bigger buy, Euro yen's being very impressive. if pound yen is going to follow suit and follow the footsteps of euro yen, and we could be seeing pound yen make a similar move back into these highs at 208, but the catalyst for that needs to be a strong break of this resistance. If we can clear the highs here well, then yeah, I'll be very bullish in pound yen. Pullbacks, buying opportunities back into highs makes so much sense there. So from a swing bias, that's really where I'm at with pound yen. In terms of the 15-minute chart though, yeah, 50-minute chart, I still like the buys. There's a nice high over here, which looks like we just about got the retest of. And perhaps that is going to be the low of this bearish move, because again, you can see how corrected we are on the way down. That to me is just a sign that we could probably see a push up. In fact, I think we did speak about the retest of this area last week as well. I believe we're just kind of hovering here somewhere. But yeah, the way I see it, we're starting to pick up momentum. There might still be some shorts. If you can push a little bit higher, maybe so into this area. We've got some equal highs here, which I think price is likely to run. I think overall this still might be a nice place for a short, but I'll keep it short and sweet though. The bearish structure is very, very fatigued. It's very corrective. So I think this could be a smart place to short, yes, but only for like a scalp or like a quick trade. I wouldn't bank on a swing like this. It could happen. You know, we don't have the crystal ball to tell into the future what price is going to do next. We can only allocate smart areas to buy and sell from, really. I think this is a smart place to sell from. Equally, I think this is a smart place to buy from. You know, still retesting the prior high. This is, of course, we had the last pullback, the last range almost, before the momentum really shot to the upside. So I think this is a special, not special, it's a good place for a buy. It's not necessarily special, but it's a good place for a buy. But of course, we already had the retest and potentially price might continue. So we might not see another retest again, but if we do keep a close eye on that, I think it's still a great place for a buy. You can see prices trying to break through lows, but every time we do sweep a low, you know, price is shooting back up again. So I think this is still a great place for a long. And like I said, we are still just about climbing. We're still falling with these lower highs here. So I think there's a world where we might put another one in and push back into that resistance. I think it's still a healthy place for a supply. I like the kind of equal highs here, rush through that, take out some early sellers. I think this is a smart place for a short as well. So depending on your poison, if you're looking to sell or buy, I think there's opportunities on both sides of the coin, just waiting for price to get to appropriate areas. I think this is where all the noise is. So this is what you want to stay away from, where people kind of just getting caught on the wrong side. You want to be positioning yourself well. I think those two areas do exactly that. So yeah, that's kind of my bias, my plan for GJ and the lower time frames. But at the moment, very, very flat. Okay, so Annie, we'll go through your oil position. The pound Aussie short. Okay, Sir Kel, we'll take a look. Euro Aussie, we can go through that as well. Mylon, I'm saying that correctly. What's up? Hope you're well. Yes, I have gone through. If you go right to the start of the video, right to the start, I go through USD pairs, and I mention I'm about to go through gold and silver as well. So probably about maybe the 20-minute mark, I go through silver around there. But if other people request it, I can go through it again as well. But yeah, at the start of the stream, you can see it there around the 20-minute mark, maybe. Thomas. Okay, we can take a look at BTC as well. What's up, Lighter, my man? Hope you're well. Welcome. No, I don't think I am. Hopefully not. Aussie dollar, Aussie CHF. Okay, sure thing. We'll take a look. Okay, so we'll go through pound Aussie, euro Aussie. We'll go through the oil position for Annie first before I forget. But you said you're short on oil and looking for a push into 65. Let me just move this out. Actually, let me just delete it. Looking for a push into 65, you said 65.5. So that would be roughly this support level, or slightly above it anyway. 65.5 would be here. So probably this low here. So yeah, not too far away from targets already. You entered short at 67, so you're positioned over here, and your stop loss 68 over here. Okay, interesting trade. Not my forte potentially. I'm always looking to avoid support resistance. Well, if I'm looking to sell, yeah, I'm avoiding support. If I'm looking to buy, I'm avoiding resistance. So, but I actually do think price is likely to break through this area. So, despite the fact of you shorting into the level, I do think price will break through. But the only downside of that is how price breaks through. That is always something unique. Price might just drop through the level like it's nothing. Price might want to bounce first and see a push back into resistance before it does break. So, and that could knock you out your trade. So, but I think you have given yourself some decent room. You said your stop loss is 68 there. So I would say that is decent room. It's not about like a significant level or a significant high. So, again, that's kind of how I look to trade, which of course is not the only way to trade. I can see that you've given yourself some decent room. And I do think price is likely to push lower. I think 65.5 is a reasonable expectation. Probably looking close to a 1-to-1 there, or maybe slightly more than a 1-to-1 in terms of the risk to reward. So yeah, I can't knock the trade. Not a trade that I will take. Again, I can only give you my honest opinion because of number one, of us coming into support, and number two, the lack of kind of like a significant high or low to put my stop loss above. But I would say you have given yourself sufficient room. If price is going to be trading up here, it's probably going to push the highs first. I still do think this low is going to break, but maybe price does a bigger move up first. Yeah, I would say what an issue would be, because some people, when they do share the trade, some people would have like the same idea in terms of, okay, I'm shorting it to this low, I'm expecting price to break this low, but they would have this stop loss like here. And I think that's just, you're asking for trouble there. Of course, you're trying to maximize your risk to reward, but yeah, the odds of price kind of just having a random fluctuation to hit your stop loss, and you still might be in the right direction, but you haven't given yourself any room to play with, especially because of the support below us, which actually create a new high. So it's a fairly significant area. So I do agree. I do think we're likely to see the move. Again, like I said, I would have taken the trade differently. But again, I'm sure you have your reasons for the position, and I quite frankly expect us to keep falling here for oil. Like I said, I do expect us to push back into support. So I do agree with the bias. Just again, how you kind of executed the trade, I would have done it slightly differently. But again, the way I trade is not the only way to trade, is there? So I don't have to be too worried about that. But I'm always looking to avoid those areas, and always looking to put my stop loss above or below structure, which again is not perfect either. You can still get faked out too. But I'm just more comfortable there because I've got a bit of protection. Anyway, we'll go through pound Aussie and euro Aussie next. Okay, so pound Aussie, pretty bearish on this pair. Looking for more downside. I think you said short, so Kel. Yeah, the only difficult thing with pound Aussie is like, how do we short this now? Price has dropped pretty hard. I wouldn't be wanting to jump into any shorts now. I think the trade is well underway. I think, yeah, any shorts now, you're going to have to be very careful. The reason I say that is because the market is essentially ranging, and it looks to me that we're trying to break the low of the range, but we've already had a pretty meaningful move to the downside. So ideally, shorts here will make the most sense, of course. We're very far away from that, and hindsight issue, but at the time I was saying shorts here look good. Of course, I did get short, but unfortunately did exit the trade a bit early. In hindsight, exit the trade for good reason, but of course it would be nice to still be in that position. But I said, when I did exit the trade, if price was to get back here again, I still think that would be a decent place to short, because you're right at the top of that range, so to speak. So if price was going to be bullish, it would need to break through this, and that would have convinced me that, okay, the market's going to go higher. But shorting up here positions yourself very, very well for not only just a swing to the low of the range, but even for the breakout as well. So the next big opportunity for pound Aussie, you could either look at potentially the break and retest of this level, but again, the market's already had a meaningful sell, so I wouldn't look for any big move here on the break and retest. It's more so, okay, we cleared support, it's now going to act as resistance. If you can respect it well, I do expect to see another reaction, but I'm being very cautious that we don't go through a bigger pullback at some stage and don't sit in that trade too long. It's more so, can I catch a reaction, maybe push back into the prior low, probably call it a day after that, or take at least most of my profits. Maybe you might be looking at some areas up here in terms of retest. I think there is some logic there, but I would argue kind of coming back into a lot of noise. This is where price has been fluctuating a lot. I wouldn't necessarily want me to entering trades in that area purely because of how noisy it is in these areas here. I'm pretty bearish. I do agree with the bias. I'm looking at the higher time frames for pound Aussie. We took out the COVID highs not long ago. The price is quite stretched. I feel like it's quite overextended. I do feel like we are due a bit of a bigger correction here. Even if the bigger move is still to the upside for this pair, I do think we can see at least a meaningful down move, maybe coming back to retest that prior high there. So I do agree with the bias, just really struggling to find some good quality shorts. I can only kind of see it from a short-term perspective. Perhaps the break and retest of this level here. But like I said, I wouldn't sit in that trade for too long, because we've already had a big sell. The bulk of the sell, I mean, we're not to know that. We might still see another big move down. That could, of course, happen. But I'd rather get into a move which hasn't really got going yet. And if it does, I'm positioned very well to take advantage of that, rather than position that has already got going, has already seen a lot of momentum, and then I'm trying to bank on a lot more still. Especially in the FX world, where we do tend to correct and chop around quite a lot more. If it's like an indice, okay, I can understand the logic there. FX pair, you have to be a little bit careful. Not to say we can't see another big move, we 100% can, but like I said, I'd rather bank on a move that hasn't happened yet fully, or is starting to happen, than a move has already seen a decent chunk of it. So that's my kind of caveat with pound Aussie, but yeah, keep an eye on the break and retest. Euro Aussie, I think, is actually a nice example, because Euro Aussie is a move that hasn't really got going yet. I think there is still opportunity there. You can see this has been trending to the upside for quite a while. We've seen one meaningful bearish leg, this move here, one meaningful bearish move down, which took out some minor areas of structure. And I think the shorts look good for this one. We haven't broken through like a major low yet, but again, that's necessarily can be a good sign, because we haven't really got going yet. So the bulk of the sellers might not be entering the position yet. And that's good. You're kind of in before the crowd. That's the idea. So Euro Aussie, been trending up for a while. Same logic really as with pound Aussie. I feel like we're quite overextended. The market's running out of steam. Perhaps a bigger pullback coming in the cars. This last up move has been very corrective in general. So I do think this is just a pullback of this bearish leg here. And I kind of do expect us to keep falling. And I like the price action. We've seen one strong bearish move here. Not necessarily a huge one either. And a retest of this range looks pretty nice here. So if price can pull back into that, respect it well, see some lower high formations, I think this is a smart place for a short. Don't necessarily have to be looking for the home run all the way back to the low here. There's numerous other areas you can look to take some profits out, lock in some gains. But I quite like Euro Aussie. If I had to trade one of them, it would definitely be Euro Aussie, because this one hasn't really got going yet. We've seen signs that it's starting. Let's see if we can jump on top of that. Pound Aussie has already pushed through quite a lot. Don't get me wrong, it hasn't seen a massive trend, but we've already taken out some big lows, so I do think we'll start to tire, if anything. Yes, I do expect us to keep going. I think Euro Aussie might have a bit more juice in the tank. So I'd rather trade that one. But again, they're similar pairs, so they'll probably end up doing the same thing. So there's that aspect too. But yeah, Euro Aussie I like a lot better. Keep an eye on 1.79. I think that's a really smart area to keep an eye on for some shorts. Okay, so we'll take a look at BTC quickly. Lighten, Aussie dollar, Aussie CHF we'll take a look at next as well. No problem, Yusuf. Thomas, happy to help. By the way, guys, if you haven't checked out the Telegram for Zentrix, a project we've launched recently involving AI, looking to utilize tools, AI-backed, whether looking at developing systems, automated systems that trade automatically, whether you're looking to develop strategies, whether you're looking to develop indicators, custom indicators. So if you have an idea of an indicator that you want to kind of develop, but of course you might not know how to code, something like AI will be able to develop that for you using plain language as well. So it's a very, very new topic, but has a lot of potential. And again, AI is still fairly new. People are still kind of just getting to grasp with it. And I think it will have a big game to play in numerous industries, especially trading as well. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And if you are interested in learning more about AI in terms of how it can help improve your trading and what Zentrix has to offer, I will drop the link to the Telegram community. You can find more information there. I did post a video as well, which does kind of go over the looks at the overview of the platform as well and what there is to offer. So if you are interested, I'll drop the link in the chat. Check it out if you are interested. And of course, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like as well. It does really help out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It does really help push the content, it grows the channel. And of course, if you are enjoying and finding it useful, it does really help me out as well. So if you could drop me drop a like on the stream, it does really help out. And I do really appreciate each and every one of you that has done so. So thank you for that. Okay, Yusuf, we'll go through gold on the 15 as well. First, we'll go through a quick look at BTC. So as I said, for Bitcoin, still a very bullish market, still expecting a lot more upside. Lovely breakout as of recently. Yes, we're seeing some signs of the market slowing down. Huge wick there to the upside. And of course, today's candle is looking pretty bearish. Although, of course, today still isn't over. We've still got 13 hours before that daily candle does close. So a lot can happen that time, but still, even if it does close bearish like that, it doesn't necessarily mean the market's going to plummet now after that rejection. We still had a very generous breakout. We've broken through the highs very well, a lot of momentum yet to come back and retest. I think that's still a very sensible place for a buy. So if the market can return to 112K, I think that's a really smart place to look for opportunities. What I would say though is we have been pretty aggressive with this pullback. So I do want us to kind of slow down a little bit, become a bit more corrective before jumping into any buys. If we do stay very impulsive and sell off aggressively, I would be a bit more cautious with that, because it's kind of like a big V-shaped pattern, which is more of a sign of reversal than a retracement. So I'll keep an eye on that. But as of right now, we're not there yet. Let's see how we do operate. I think this is a very smart place for a buy, 112, and yeah, looking for a push all the way back to the all-time high and probably new all-time highs as well. We've got 125K just floating above our heads there. That could be the next big target there for BTC. But for me, still a very bullish market. In terms of Aussie dollar, I'm still keeping an eye on the shorts for this one, although it has been very much of a nuisance, very, very corrective behavior. Not really doing too much here, to be honest. But yeah, I quite like the shorts still. We've got this ascending channel, price respect to the high on a couple of occasions. I'm looking to see if we can get there again, respect it again, hopefully, and see a nice push back into the low of the channel. So nothing crazy, just looking to short from the high to the low, play the range, and then maybe if things go well, maybe capitalize on the breakout as well, leave some positions to run. Maybe the breakout does happen. Of course, if price doesn't do that, starts to respect the low again, and we bounce to the upside like we've done on so many occasions, you can look to get out and take the profits and run. But yeah, Aussie dollar, just a very corrective market. The goal is to short high and buy low. So if you can get back to the top end of the range, I'm looking for signs of rejection to get short, to take this back down again. That's all I see. It's a very corrective market. I do think we're likely to break lower. When I'm seeing corrective moves like this, It's not a sign of a healthy trend, more of a sign that we're likely to break lower. Of course, not guaranteed, but more often than not, it does lead to a push down. So that's where I'm looking to pay attention to. If we do break to the upside, then I want to see a lot of momentum here to show that, okay, momentum is well and truly shifted back to the buys. Now we're looking healthy. And of course, nice corrective pullback. And then we can start talking about some more buys. So that's the only way I'm looking to buy Aussie dollar, if I see us become healthy again. In terms of Aussie Swiss, so again, I still do have somewhat of a bullish bias for this one. I do think we can see a bit more upside, but we are still, for the most part, very, very corrective and slow. Still seeing these major lower highs, so even if we do see some upside, I'll be very, very careful of around 0.528, 0.53 coming to this area. We definitely could see potentially another lower high form. We've been very consistent with them previously. 1, 2, 3. Potentially could put a fourth in. That might take us back into the low and potentially see some new lows there as well. So I would watch out there for Aussie CHF. It's still a very bearish market to me in terms of the market trend. The reason why I do have a long-term bullish bias for this one is because we are oversold and creating new all-time lows. And every time Aussie Swiss does make a new all-time low, it does recover pretty substantially. So at some point, we are going to have a big move. Of course, it's always a little bit difficult to predict when exactly. So structure will help us with that. But yeah, if we have another slow move into this high, into this supply area, I can definitely see a world where we do respect it and come right back down again. So this might be a nice swing short to look at for some shorts. If you're looking for a big swing trade, if you're bullish, I think a nice break of that counter trend line could be a nice buy there into that zone. But as soon as you get there, you might want to be cautious. Okay, so gold on the 15, Yusuf, we'll take a look. No problem, Annie, happy to help. Okay. Trend lines of okay, makes sense. Okay, yeah. I can see the logic there. Again, I'm not saying that the trade is bad, because I can see the logic there. I do expect us to do the same thing as well. We've been in this kind of very slow corrective move. Price is broken through the channel. You mentioned the daily close yesterday was very bearish. 100% is looking very bearish. So I do agree. I do think price will push down. It's just the principles of how I take my trades is a little bit different. So in terms of the bias, in terms of expecting a push down, I'm agreeing as well. I'm looking for us to return back to support there. So we're very much on the same page, kind of looking at the same technicals really, in terms of why I'm expecting the market to push down. Very tired move to the upside. It looks like it has run out of juice. Very strong rejection. I do feel like we're likely to push down. It's just when I do take my trades, you know, I do have some elements which I look for in terms of entering a trade, but that's different for each person. Some people will trade quite heavily trendline breakouts, so they will never really have a stop loss similar to mine really. And if they do, they would have very, very big stop losses, because if you are going to short a trendline breakout and you have a stop loss above a high, you know, by default, your stop loss is the length of this bearish leg. And in some cases, that could be very, very big as well. So if you're going to try and maximize your risk reward, you naturally want to bring your stop loss a little bit further down. And of course, your expectation is, okay, we've broken through the trend line. I'm not expecting price to break back above the trend line. So a stop loss above the trend line kind of makes sense there, really. A stop loss here puts you relatively safer. So if that was to happen, you're protected. But then again, the reason why you're entering the trade is because we're below the trend line. So if you do get back above it, it's probably not worthwhile staying in the trade. You can always look for a re-entry, of course. So I fully get the logic there. It's just we have kind of different styles in terms of entering and entering trades, really. Morning, Malik. No problem. Happy to have you on the chat. Hope you're doing good. Lighten, no problem, man. Glad to help. German, you're interested. You're talking about interested in the Telegram, or interested in something else. If you are, the link to it is just above you. You can join the Telegram, and there's more information there if you're looking to if you're looking for our AI powered signal service. You can request it in the Telegram as well, and we will add you to the group as well. Okay, so I'll go through 15 gold. Gold on 15. So gold, horrendous price action. Let's not be around the bush here. Really horrendous price action. I talked about some buys for gold here, and that's really where I stand with it. I know I'll drop to the 15 in a moment, but this is really where I want to get involved, because it's away from all the noise. This is where gold is just fluctuating and behaving weird. If I can get buys here or buys there, I know what I'm in for. Strong support, essentially buying at the low of the range. 50-50, is price going to respect this level or not? We'll see what we get. Likewise with the slope here, I know that the overall trend is to the upside, so naturally I'm still looking to buy the market. And if I can buy from a significant level of support, I think I'm positioned well in terms of probability. Of course, the trade might not necessarily play out, but I know I've got probability on my side in that situation. At the moment, the market is very flat, and as we drop to the lower time frames, things do get a little bit more awkward now because of the lack of consistency of a trend and sustained market structure. So I wouldn't really do anything, to be honest, on the 15. I know we do have somewhat of a bullish trend here. We did, clear the highs out here and cleared up the highs there as well. So there was a sustained bullish move. Would I look to keep buying this? No, I wouldn't. We've got highs here, which price is struggling at. And we might see another push back to the highs, but I wouldn't be surprised if we come right back down again. So I'm not confident to follow this uptrend because of how the market's behaving. If this 15-minute uptrend was just within the prior bullish trend, like over here, then yeah, I'll be so confident to try and look to continue that because I know conditions are in my favor. Trying to continue buys here, it makes absolute sense. Of course, there'll be times of a bigger pullback, but for the most part, I'll be looking to try and buy it. In this case, where the market's flat, respecting highs and lows, I need to see more for me to look to buy. So I need to see price breaking it again to the upside. Then yeah, I'll be more confident to buy at that point because I'm seeing signs of life. I'm seeing a healthy trend again. I'm seeing sustained momentum and a continued direction. I'm seeing resistance break as well. So that will give me a bit more confidence to buy it. But I can see that happening. I can also see price failing at resistance and pushing right back down again. So on the 15, I'm struggling for a good quality opportunity. Yes, I'll probably stick with the buys for gold in terms of just buying in general because we still got that higher time frame bullish trend on the cards. I still think it's likely to continue. So looking for buys is naturally a good idea in the grand scheme of things. But we are still very choppy here. So yes, this could be a nice trend that does start to form and we do start to run away to the upside. Let's let price actually do that first. Let price actually smash through the highs here and give us a generous up leg. Then we can talk about some pullbacks and some upside. If price doesn't do that, respects the high, and all we do is just come straight back down again, we're back at where we started. I'll stay away personally. So I'm not a big fan of the structure of the 15 on gold. Haven't been for a while, but I do like the buys at these lows here. Even on the 15 here, you can probably look for some nice reversal opportunities on the 15 at these areas. So I think not only are they look good on the 4-hour chart, I think it also looks good in the 15 as well. So I'll keep an eye on those areas. But to be honest, for gold, I like gold in terms of the buys here. But I think silver is just very kind of straightforward. So my attention is really with silver at the moment in terms of the metals, because I know what I'm getting with silver. Very nice impulse, consolidation, very nice impulse. If I can get a retest, for me, it's a black and white opportunity in terms of the clarity of it. Just waiting to see if we can get pulled back there. I know exactly what I'm in for here. Of course, not to say that 100% going to have a successful trade, but I know in terms of what I'm doing, it's quite clear. So I'm happy to get involved at these areas. And then, yeah, target's back at 40. So momentum's looking good for silver. Just looking to follow that and more buys here, really. So the focus for silver looks good. Even on the 15, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I wouldn't say there's a clear-cut trade here. But we're starting to see some really aggressive wicks to the downside, which shows that momentum is dying. Perhaps if you can start to see something like this, maybe a nice uptrend can start to follow, and you can trade that back to highs, back to new highs maybe. And we know we can be a bit more confident with the buys here because we've got the wind in our sails. We've got evidence that the trend is up, momentum is up. We're seeing huge bullish legs here. We saw another big one here as well. You can be a lot more confident looking to buy that in these scenarios than with gold. So I think silver is a bit more fruitful at the moment. So yeah, I would have my eggs in that basket. The funny thing is, they are very correlated. So silver is going to have another big up move. Maybe it does drag gold with it. Not always do they copy each other exactly, but more often than not they do. Anyway, in terms of the big news this afternoon, let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it's 1:30. Normally is 1:30 UK time, that is. Yeah, CPI 130. We've also got CAD CPI as well. Don't want to overlook that. But yeah, CPI for dollar, CPI for CAD. So in terms of USD, that's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of let's get some opportunities on the USD pairs. It's been a while since I've traded them, and I want to get back into some USD pairs. And yeah, if I can see some strength for some dollar, I think I can get some very nice trades, especially pound. I think pound's going to be my favorite. Euro could look good as well. Malik, G and Euro, well, funny enough, just about to speak about those. So right on time. But yeah, pound USD, I quite like the look of it. Very corrective on the up move, very tired. Just about breaking the channel to the downside. So we're seeing signs that maybe a push to the downside is on the cards here. Of course, I'll wait for CPI to do its thing before really locking in that bias. But my best guess is that we're probably likely to continue to fall. And if we can go break structure, which of course is this prior low here, that would make me 100% bearish on the market. And are we looking for lower highs to short? Again, I'm not necessarily calling a massive reversal. I think it might just be a bit of a down move, just take a bit of a breather before we do continue our path. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for pound. But nonetheless, that down move probably worthwhile to trade. And that, again, as traders, that's all we're interested in. So yeah, pound USD shorts look good at the moment. I'm not a fan of the buys at all. The fact we have broke out the channel is a big red flag. Not to say that we can't see an up move. Trend lines are great tools, but not perfect. Just like support and resistance, great tools, not perfect. So the fact that we are breaking trend line doesn't guarantee us we're changing direction. Something a little bit more concrete would be the break of structure, which is what we're waiting for. But there is still a world we do push up, but I think it's quite unlikely at the moment. So that's why I'm looking at some shorts. And then, yeah, a lower high, maybe on the retest of this area here. I have to wait and see. But I quite like the shorts here for pound. And again, look at where we're trading on the daily chart. We've just taken out some major highs here. Typically, when highs like that are taken out, the market is quite tired. It normally does have some big pullbacks. You can see here, taking out a major low here. What happened? Big reversal. Took out a major high here. What happened? Big reversal. These don't happen all the time, but it's a common theme, and especially when the market's doing a lot as of late, it does tend to do it again as well. So keeping a close eye on that. And yeah, shorts look good. Euro USD, same situation really, just hasn't really got going yet. You can see a similar channel there, higher highs and higher lows, still got a clear uptrend. I do think dollar, again, likely to gain some strength. If that's the case, we might break to the downside, and then that will provide some nice opportunities on euro. So that's really what I'm waiting for. That could end up being a very nice head and shoulder pattern. You got the left, you got the head, you got the right shoulder there. That's of course your neckline. Looking for a retest for some shorts. That looks really good to me. And yeah, I think we can go a lot further as well. So euro potentially a pair that's good. Like I said, I think pound looks a bit better. So I think I'll probably just focus on that one. And again, they're very similar at the end of the day. So I'm not going to take them both, but I'll see which one presents the better opportunity. It might be euro, so keep an eye. But in terms of shorts, that's what I'm looking for. In terms of the longs, then I like to see a break of the counter trend line. If you get a strong break of the counter trend line this afternoon, maybe, and of course that lines up with the DXY as well. Let's see that DXY gets a strong break of the counter trend line to the downside, with euro getting it to the upside. Well, that is a pretty strong buy signal for euro dollar, pretty strong sell signal for the dollar on its own. So from a bullish standpoint on euro, that could still be an idea as well if we do see a strong break. So yeah, I can see price going both directions, but I do think the dollar's quite tired, so I do fancy some buys. But I think CPI hopefully will be the orchestrator of that this afternoon. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that news event. Don't have any trades open at the moment, so there's no risk on the table at all. So I'm very much just looking to see what the news does, not really caring too much what the outcome is, because there's always going to be opportunity in the market. You know, there's never been a news event that's just not created opportunities eventually. Maybe there's no momentum, but eventually there will be a trade opportunity. So whatever happens, happens. But yeah, I'm going to see what we do in reference to the channel, and then that will paint the bias for me for the rest of the week and probably for the rest of the month, to be honest. It's already halfway through July. That probably does set us for the next 2 weeks, probably at least. Maybe till like NFP or something. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. No problem, D-Mar. Thank you. So yeah, that's really where my focus will be this afternoon. In terms of pairs I'm really interested in, like I said, pound USD I really like. Euro yen, spoke briefly on this one, but this pair is firmly on the watch list, just waiting for a pullback if we can get it. It's still just climbing higher, annoyingly. I'm kind of hoping we get a pullback. We'll wait and see if we do. If we don't, we don't. If we do, great. I'm there to trade it, hopefully. And I like this area here. Nice brief consolidation for a few days. Sharp break to the upside. May even consider this brief range here as well. You can see it just above us with that bearish candle on the day. Nice break to the upside. That even could be an interesting area. But the way I see it, we've had a strong break of this high and the market is quite stretched. So I think when it's time for a pullback, we can probably see a decent size one. I'm expecting us to kind of really see some relief before we do continue. But there is a lot of momentum, so I'm not expecting a huge pullback like a retest of this area. I think we're way too bullish to see a pullback that big. But yeah, direction-wise, 175 looks very, very likely. So buys on Euro Yen look pretty good, keeping a close eye on that. Of course, like I said, silver looking exceptional, lovely momentum. Clear break to the upside, so we're going to keep a very close eye on a retest of that area. Yeah, I think that's about it, to be honest, in terms of the best pairs. Other pairs could come into play, like Euro USD could come into play, Pound Yen could come into play in a breakout. CAD Gem on a pullback, to be honest, that could come into play as well. It's not as good as Euro Yen, but if there's a good setup, I wouldn't mind taking the trade there if I see a pullback there. So there are a few maybe pairs on the line here. In terms of the pairs I really like, Euro Yen, silver, Pound USD, those are probably the three which I really like. If I can get an opportunity, I'll be all over, hopefully. Rexus US 30 thoughts. So yeah, US 30 very bullish. I quite like the price action for US 30 actually. It's a little bit choppy, but the way I see it, it's like a big bull flag really. And we've got lovely consolidation below us, which is of course acting like a nice area of supply, demand, sorry. Very nice breakout to the upside. A lot of momentum from that area. We tapped into it for the first time on Monday when the market opened. Nice reaction to the upside. Again, the way I see it, there's just so much momentum to the upside. And we're quite corrective, to be honest. I haven't seen I see any big signs of reversal. Yes, we had a pretty big bearish candle here, but that didn't really change anything, to be honest. Big bearish candle, no consistency in terms of momentum afterwards, kind of just plateaued. So that's a sign that not necessarily reversal is on the cards here, more of a correction. And the way I see it, kind of looks like a big bull flag here. So I suggest in terms of some entries, it would be ideal if we could see another push into support, unless you're already in the position there, of course, then you just want price to continue higher. But if you're looking to get into a trade for US30, I'll be looking to buy the market. We're extremely close to the all-time highs. Other major indices for the US have done that. S&P, NAS, they've taken out the all-time highs a couple of weeks ago now. I think US30 just lagging behind. It's likely to go and do that, and that's why I like US30, because there's a clear objective with US30, and it hasn't done that yet. So if you can take advantage of that, get into the market before it does happen, hopefully we can capitalize on that move and take advantage of that and trade it to the high. So that's why I see a strong opportunity for this one. And even besides that, I like the price action. Very, very bullish, crazy breakout. Now this looks like a bull flag to me. So yeah, let's see if we can get another retest of that area, perhaps double bottom, smart area to get involved with. And yeah, looking for us to break higher. Still a bullish market, so definitely not interested in shorting at all. No problem, Rexus, happy to help. Okay, think of a pair change. Gold must just be nasty to me recently. Yeah, I don't like the price action at all of gold as well. I'm agreeing with you on that. I think the price action has been horrendous with gold, especially if you're an intraday trader. It's been horrendous. Again, in terms of the big picture, gold firmly very, very bullish still. I still think we're likely to see higher prices. I'm still very much a buyer of gold, but we're clearly in a bit of a range here. We're clearly taking a break. You can see the bigger picture to the upside. So I'm still very much a bull, but very, very flat. So if you're trying to get involved in here, it's gonna eat you alive unless you're very careful how you go about things. You can't have the same approach with gold as you had here. This is a lovely trend, buying the lows, following momentum, big moves here. That's all well and great, but when we start to get like this, you want to either change your approach or don't trade. It's very, very simple. Change the approach or don't trade. You can't trade here like you trade here, and you can't trade here like you trade here. There's one way to give money back unnecessarily. Conditions are huge as well, because you can have a very good strategy, but if you trade in the wrong conditions, it becomes absolutely useless. So you have to be able to change to the condition of the market, or just recognize that, okay, these conditions are not optimal, and move away. And that's where potentially another pair can come in, like you just mentioned, which is one of the reasons why I do trade a lot of pairs. Of course, I'm a swing trader, so naturally I'm going to trade a lot of pairs anyway. But I'm always looking for the best opportunity, and conditions have a big part to play. Are we trending? Are we sideways? Is it coming to an end of a trend? Is it potentially starting a new trend? Those are questions you have to ask yourself and decipher which one's optimal for your trading style. And yeah, I can imagine the stress of trading side there for gold. So I agree. If you're not finding joy, it's probably because of the conditions at the moment are not good. Again, eventually that's going to change. Eventually gold's going to break out and see a nice trend, whether that's to the upside or to the downside. Eventually the condition will look good again. You can find some great trades there and continue where you left off. But at the moment, it's not ideal. Yep, news day, 100%, Tony. Hopefully it's the catalyst to get USD moving. USD's been a bit flat recently, so hopefully CPI can do some damage today, get the ball rolling. Yeah, US30 looks better. I agree. Again, there will be times that US30 looks horrible as well. At the moment, yes, US30 looks better. I'd rather trade US30 than gold, 100%. But there will be times where gold looks a lot better than US30, and then I'll be looking to trade gold rather than US30. So it's kind of having that flexibility is very, very important. I fully agree, Rexus. And again, especially when you got a big experience in trading, trust the gut feeling as well. Sometimes take screenshots of the bigger trend, of the bigger picture of your trades. That can help, because you probably notice some patterns between your winners and your losers. Typically what's going on in the higher time frames. How's the market looking? You don't have to be too complex or too specific. Just generally just have a look and a feel of the market. This is very, very flat. Hell of a difference to what price is doing here. So naturally, two different things are happening here. So definitely keep that in mind. But yeah, US 30 looks a lot better. I'd rather pay attention to that. But anyway, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I do appreciate each and every one of you tuning into the stream again. We'll be live again every day this week, as always. We do have CPI later, so keep tabs on that, ladies and gentlemen. If you are trading pretty much anything, it has a reasonable chance of being affected, especially anything dollar related, so keep an eye on that. Again, we'll be back tomorrow to discuss what happens with the CPI. Hopefully dollar can be moving by then, so we have a lot more to chat about in terms of the dollar. But we'll wait and see. Thanks a lot for tuning into another stream. Drop a like if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell before you leave so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you haven't checked out the Zentrix Telegram, make sure you head over to the Telegram and go and do that. If you're interested to learn about AI, how that can help improve your trading, how you can use AI-powered tools to take your trading to the next level, make things easier. There's a lot of things that can be done, whether you're looking at fundamental analysis, sentiment analysis, technical analysis, or even just developing your own automated system. So keep an eye on that. A lot to come from Zentrix. If you're interested, check out the Telegram. You can join the community using that link in the chat. But guys, we'll be back again tomorrow. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Zentrix AI. Tired of switching between trading platforms? Zentrix AI brings it all together. Trade CFDs, get AI-powered insights, build automated strategies, track crypto, design custom algos, trade perps. Stay ahead with live market outlooks. One platform, all your trading needs. No more switching between tools. Ready to simplify your trading? Start with Zentrix AI today. Zentrix AI. Smarter trading.